Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we prepare for our 20th race of the first season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. It's our second dirt track start of the season as we are here today at Lakewood Speedway. We were originally supposed to be going to DuQuoin, but unfortunately, due to the fact it only holds 37 race cars, we had to swap it over for a track that actually does hold 40. And so therefore we are here in Atlanta, Georgia, getting ready to go racing at a track that, at least to my knowledge, I don't remember ever hosting a race at. So we will definitely be seeing something a little bit more unique here today, not really having any prior history, any notes to be able to go off of. A little bit of a curveball, not only for myself, but also for these drivers here today. In the process, T Wright will line up on the pole position. Trey coming into this race dead last in the points. And so obviously he would love, with good starting track position, to be able to get his first win of the season. I don't know, even if he won today, if with 6 races remaining in the regular season, if he could fight his way up into the top 30 in points. But then again, anything is possible. And it will be an all-blue oval automotive front row as his teammate J Lopes, 2-time winner, will start to his outside. Lopez looking for his 3rd win of the season. Already at this point, 7th in the standings with 2 wins. He's locked into the playoffs. He's just going for wins now for the rest of the regular season to get those valuable bonus points once the playoff standings are reformatted. As a matter of fact, pretty good qualifying effort for all 3 of the cars out of BOA, as J Millz, another 2-time winner, will line up in the 6th position. I'm going to do my best here on commentary to try and be as comprehensive as I can. I did stay up until 2 o'clock this morning, though. I was hosting an online race, so I apologize if my commentary is a little lackluster. I'm trying to stay awake, but for now, let's go down and get the command to fire up the engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
It'll be 45 laps of racing here today. This track is a mile in length. We ran 50 laps at Springfield Mile earlier on this season. D Poteet, of course, the defending winner there. And take a look at the playoff grid. For the first time this season, 19 races, 16 different race winners, and all 16 are inside the top 30 in points. So right now, your playoff grid would be comprised of all of this season's previous race winners. But a couple of drivers need good runs today to keep themselves up there. Wyatt Quail, he is 29th in the points. He is 17 points ahead of the cut line. And J Shelly last week moved back into the top 30 in the point standings. He's 30th, and he is only 11 points ahead of the cut line. And of course, if we have a different driver go to victory lane here today that is inside the top 30 in the points, this is the part of the season that I knew we were going to reach, where we are going to end up having drivers that have a victory this season. Even if they're inside the top 30 in points, they could very well miss out on a spot in this season's chase for the championship. Pace car makes the left-hand turn down to pit road, which we may see these drivers have to hit during the course of this race. We'll have to wait and see as teammates T Wright and J Lopes lead us down. Waiting on the flagman. And for the first time at Lakewood Speedway, let's roll! Saw T Wright overdrive that corner just a bit, scraping the steel guardrail. No safer barriers here. So if you hit the wall, your day is probably going to be over. As Lopez, how aggressive is he going to be in racing his teammate for the lead? Obviously, he wants to get his 3rd win, but at the same time, his teammate in the 28 is trying to get at least one good run to be able to smile about. Mustangs 1, 2, 3 as you try and see through the dust kicked up here. Levi McIntire moving into that 3rd position. Levi is 3rd in the overall point standings as well, highest in the standings without a victory. And now for drivers like himself and Michael Norman and Matthew Rodriguez, who for the past couple of weeks were up inside the playoffs via points, now the pressure is on. They know now they cannot rely on points to get into the playoffs. They need wins. J Jefferson, the highest Chevrolet right now, in 4th. And you got Vince Almariego and Matthew Rodriguez also up here inside of the top 10, along with K Mathews. It's all Fords and Chevys currently in your top 10. Now, I mentioned that these drivers might have to hit pit road, and now I'm not so sure. It's going to be close because this is the first time in a number of weeks we are not running the 2019's rule package. So as far as fuel consumption, that's not really going to be as much of an issue as it has been in the past few weeks. Levi McIntire making a challenge on Jordan Lopez for second. J Jefferson right there as well. Jefferson 36th in the point standings. And we know that, 2 and 3 weeks ago, he had really good runs. I'm trying to remember what tracks they were at. Had a top 10 run at, I think it was Dover. And then the following week, he almost won the race at Kansas. But Mitchell Collins passed him on the final lap out of turn 4 and was able to get his first win of the season. Jefferson had to settle for second place. Levi McIntire wants second place. That's the second time we've seen him put the pressure on Jordan Lopez, but for now, Lopez keeps McIntire at bay. J Millz got his second win of the season back at the Chicago Motor Speedway. And he is right now up in the 5th position, so all 3 of the Blue Oval Automotive Fords are up inside of the top 10. J Millz currently coming into this race 24th in the standings. He did not have a good run last week at New Hampshire and dropped from 20th to 24th. So, I don't know. Hopefully for him, history's not repeating itself, because back when he got that first win of the season at Manassas, it was looking like he was going to be a real contender. And then a couple weeks later, we were talking about him flip-flopping inside and outside of the top 30 in points. V Almariego, J Gardner. This is a battle for the 6th position. Nice to see some drivers up here towards the front having good runs. T Wright, J Jefferson, V Almariego, all drivers outside of the top 30 in points. K Batson right there as well in the 39. Batson is 37th in the points coming into this race, and he's currently in the 8th position. Levi McIntire 3rd overall in the points. Talked about him trying to get a victory now. Can't rely on points. Same as can be said for Matthew Rodriguez. He is the 3rd highest in the points without a victory, 6th in the standings overall. His finishes have been really good as of late. Struggled a little bit last week at New Hampshire, but still up inside of the top 10. But now, like I stated, these drivers, they cannot rely on consistency. Now they've got to rely on wins. Either that or they got to hope and pray that Shelly and W Quail fall outside the top 30 in points again. And maybe J Millz. But the odds of that I don't think are really that great, especially also with the fact that I think that even if they did, I think we would have 2 or 3 different race winners in the next 6 weeks that would probably take over those slots that they vacate, if that takes place. Let's actually drop back and find out where those 2 drivers, Quail and Shelly, are currently at. Right now, the highest run of those is Shelly. He is in the 24th position. Someone got the wall back there. That might have been our Kansas winner, Mitchell Collins. As we continue to drop back, and there we find the 41 in 35th. W Quail, remember, came into this race only 17 points ahead of the cut line. The driver that he needs to be most worried about, I think, right now would be the 25 of Benjamin Miles, who is 31st in points. V Almariego as well. Almariego was only 19 points back from W Quail, and we know he's running up inside of the top 10. There's our Darlington winner, Benny Watson. He's got damage, 40th place right now. And last week's winner, Austin LaPlante. He is back here, currently trapped in a battle for the 38th position. So not the momentum he was looking for, coming off his first Duracell Cup Series victory. Benny Watson is down the back straightaway, halfway down the back straightaway. T Wright was just exiting out of turn 4, so at least for right now, we're not seeing the possibility of traffic coming into play. How some of these drivers are able to find their way around the track, though, I don't understand. I mean, the dust clouds being kicked up, making it difficult even for myself to see the cars on track, and you gotta wonder, in the cockpit, what are they seeing? Matter of fact, when do we find out? Let's take a look on board of the Blue Angels Ford Mustang of K Batson and see just how much of a visibility issue they are having. Let's take a lap around with the 39. almost like you got to run half of the racetrack on blind faith and hope that the dust cloud that you're driving into is just the residue left behind by a driver that took the turn earlier than you, and not that there's a wreck at the end of that dust cloud. Back up towards the front, it is still T Wright leading the way. And you know, when you see a driver struggle in the point stands, I mean, we've highlighted J Jefferson the last couple of weeks, and rightfully so. I mean, they've just had horrible season. But to see him finish up in the top 10, up in the top 5, nearly get a win, I mean, you can't help but root for an underdog like that. And so, you know, I don't feel that it's at all favoritism to be rooting for T Wright here, based off the fact of the season that he has had. He's not gotten away from his teammate, though. Jordan Lopez has kept it to around half a second of distance between himself and T Wright, and that time by he actually cut it down by almost 2/10. Levi McIntyre right there as well. J Jefferson also. They are still staying at least within striking distance. And remember, as I stated earlier, you can see right there, it's steel guardrails. And if you go up and into that steel guardrail, it's going to be very difficult to get off of the guardrail. And so if you make a mistake here, you slide up, you get that guardrail, it's probably going to lose you some positions on track. That time by T Wright was a little bit faster than his teammate and opened the gap up by another 3/10. Lopez looks like he's trying to run a little bit lower in 3 and 4. He's got a much lower entry on the back straightaway, and I don't really think that's helping him. That time looked like Lopez entered only about a half groove lower. T Wright still continues to open up the distance between himself and the 38, and Levi McIntyre looks like he might be getting ready to challenge for second place once again. So he drove it really deep there into turns 1 and 2. And as these three, Lopez, McIntyre, and Jefferson battle in second, third, and fourth, J Millz is slowly starting to close in. J Millz has won at a mile track, Manassas, and a 1.5 miles at, actually no, his 2 wins have both come at mile length tracks. His second win was actually at Chicago Motor Speedway, and this track is a mile in length. It's also dirt covered though, so that's a little bit of a difference. J Jefferson trying to get that inside line going. Tried to close up the gap between himself and Levi McIntyre. And we got a new driver up inside of the top 10. Another driver that is struggling in the points. Nice to see him running well, and that is Cole Baker. Baker coming into this race currently in 33rd in the points. So I believe we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe it's 5 drivers up here in our top 10 that are outside of the top 30 in points. So a lot of drivers making use of their good starting track position here today to try and maybe get themselves at least up close to inside of the top 30 in the points. So we watch this good battle back here for the 6th position. J Gardner in the 14, Vince Almariego the 42. Got a car in trouble there on the bottom of the track. That is the 0 of Diego Yepez. And I think the caution might be out. It is! First time today, nearing the halfway point, the caution flies. And that takes away the possibility of green flag pit stops. Everybody's going to be able to pit here under yellow. And I think this is definitely going to put them in their fuel window to make it the rest of the way. Looks like Adam Garcia got a piece of whatever the incident was as well, as he is on pit road. Got some front end damage on his Nintendo Switch Mustang. So at least 2 drivers we can speculate brought out this yellow. Adam Garcia and Diego Yepez. We're going to follow this pit stop though, because this could be the money stop. T Wright got the first pit stall with the pit selection with starting on the pole. We'll see if that's going to be enough for him to be able to get off pit lane ahead of everybody else. Looks like they're just a little bit ahead on their pit stop of their teammate. And they are down and away and very quickly hit that commitment line. So they will be restarting the leader over teammate Jordan Lopez. Then it's McIntire, Millz, and Almariego is going to come out in the top 5. So a bad pit stop for J Jefferson. We'll drop him out of the top 5 on this restart. Julius Anderson still sits on pit road. K Mathews has some front end damage, so he might have been involved. Can't really see through the dust about Charles Sandfer, if he's got any damage or not. See when he comes out of that dust cloud. Might have had some people running into each other on pit road, perhaps. Yeah, Sandfer's got some damage. So 2 of the Retro Racing Enterprises cars have sustained some buckles on their hoods. Then we got a car, it's still in Poteet, now getting in line. Trying to figure out what was going on there. Didn't know if we had a car that was disabled or blowing up or something back there. So T Wright leads us under our first caution of the day, and he will be leading us for our first restart as well. For now, let's go back and see what brought out this yellow flag at Lakewood. Now, this might not be easy to find out what happened because it took place right in the middle of a dust cloud going into turns 3 and 4. We're going to try and look from this camera angle as it seems to be a little bit clear of that cloud of dust. Watching the left side of your screen, wreck might actually already have taken place. We'll have to wait and see, though. Yeah, there you see, there is Yepez up in the wall. Trent Dunham. Oh, and then there's where Garcia gets involved. He ran into the back of Trent and then also gets up and into Diego Yepez in the right side of his Citgo Chevrolet. We'll see if we can get another camera angle, but I don't really think we're going to be able to get a good enough angle to find out how the wreck started. Well, coming out of this cloud of dust, there's Trent, there's Diego Yepez. Oh, we might actually be able to find out. Yeah, well, I don't know if Trent got into Yepez right rear or if Yepez slid up into Dunham, but whatever the case, both of them locked sheet metal. And you could clearly tell, just visibly looking, that is not a safe for barriers. That was a pretty extensive hit for Diego Yepez, and then more contact there you see from the 12 of Adam Garcia. So 3 cars basically involved in this wreck: Dunham, Yepez, and Garcia. I believe Diego Yepez has retired out of the race after 2 pretty violent hits out of turn number 4. Let's go back now for the restart, as we are going to probably be right at the halfway point of this race. So out of the races, Diego Yepez, Adam Garcia, and Julius Andersson are both stuck 1 lap down. I think Anderson might still be on pit road. There you see the 12 will start to the inside of the race leader, T Wright. 2 things that caution did with its timing. Number 1, it took away our possibility of green flag pit stops. And secondly, it took away our idea of what the fuel window is. So let's speculate that these drivers could have only gone 21 laps, which I think they could have gone much further than that. They just took the opportunity to pit here under caution. Then they would have only been able to make it around lap 42, but I don't think anybody's going to have any fuel issues for the remainder of this race. Have we seen our last caution, though? That is the big question, as T Wright will lead us back to the green over teammate Jordan Lopez, Levi McIntire 3rd, Jose Millz 4th. It's Mustangs 1, 2, 3, 4. Then L Mariego is in 5th. Rest of the top 10 were Matthew Rodriguez, Cole Baker, Zach Rogers, Chris Dollerton, and Ryan Brommer. And I realized I made a mistake at the top of the show of stating that this was only our 2nd dirt track stop of the season. It's actually our 3rd, because Chris Dollerton won our 2nd dirt track race at Fuel Motorsports Park, so I apologize for that error. And we might be 1, 2, 3 for the Blue Oval Automotive Fords, and we are. Jose Millz just worked his way around Levi McIntire, who was trapped behind Adam Garcia. He moves to 3rd as his teammates battle it out for the lead. T Wright and Jordan Lopez. And I believe the caution's out again. It is. So cautions are now breeding cautions. And Matt Haas is on pit road. A lot of damage on that race car. Dylan Young also involved, 10th in the point standings. And they may be the only 2. So now with everybody getting bunched up and we're entering into the second half of this race, now everybody's getting more aggressive knowing that it's their best opportunity to be able to make up spots on the racetrack. T Wright, though, every lap that he leads under caution is one less lap he has to defend against his teammate. Let's go back and see what happens. Second caution of the day here at Lakewood Speedway. Yeah, no biggie. They were only going 4 wide into turn 1. That's Carson Gunn, Benny Watson, Matt Haas, and Trent Dunham. And it's hard to see through the dust where the contact begins, but I believe it was between Haas and Dunham, and Matt Haas up and over in the air, comes down onto the hood of Dylan Young. And then Dylan Young actually catches some air as well. Both right side tires come off the racing surface. And you see the pace car immediately driving out of pit road. There was no doubt about that was a caution. And that is Mitchell Collins, who got trapped behind the 8, but I don't think he got any damage. I think he just slowed down to avoid. And I mean, I don't really blame him when you see a car barrel rolling in front of you. A wild ride for Matt Haas. And that 8 car, as a violent wreck, brings out our second caution of the day. And if racing like that takes place and brings on another caution, I will not be surprised. Like I said, these drivers, not only we've got some cars that are a little bit damaged and off the pace line up on the inside line here in Anderson, Garcia, and now Dylan Young, but you've also got the opportunity here, being the closest to anybody that you really have been all day. The field got pretty spread out there on that long green flag run to start this race. And we are getting closer and closer to the end of this race, as we will be at 16 laps to go when T Wright leads us back to this green flag. So the top 10 really didn't change a whole lot. Jose Millz moved up to 3rd. McIntyre fell back to 5th. But just about everybody that was in the top 10 in the last restart is up inside the top 10 here on this restart. We do have another driver back in the garage area. That is Matt Haas. So 2 of the unknown motorsports cars are now back behind the wall. One of them is trapped a lap down in Julius Anderson. So right now the only one of the team that is running on the lead lap currently, so there's a little contact right there, would be the 5 of J Jefferson, who was up inside of the top 10 at the beginning of this race, but a very lengthy pit stop now has him running back currently in the 23rd position. And the caution is out again. We got that one long green flag run at the very beginning, and now we are working our 3rd yellow flag in just about the last 10 laps. And this one's going to involve Jesse Turner, 5th in the point standings, our Atlanta race winner. Looks like there's also damage on Trent Dunham. Seth Cole was involved. Last week's winner from New Hampshire, Austin LaPlante. A lot of damage on his Ally Banking Chevrolet. Benjamin Miles got some right side damage, but I think a lot of drivers do from sliding up into the guardrail at some point or another. So 3rd caution of the day. T Wright continues to lead. Let's go back and see what happened. Well, I thought Benjamin Miles got his damage from an earlier incident. Nope, it was from this one. Battling with Jesse Turner. This was for the 14th spot. And very similar to what we saw take place between Trent Dunham and Diego Yepez, Jessica Shelton got a piece of it there as she gets hit in the passenger side door. And we're on dirt. It's very difficult to slam on the brakes on dirt and actually have it work. As Seth Cole gets a piece there. Oh, there's Matt McIntyre. He got a pretty good hit, and that sent Turner down into the path of Austin LaPlante. And Kyle Mathews and Trent Dunham, I think they may have come to a stop. That's a couple of our former race winners right there, though. Turner and LaPlante. LaPlante 9th in the points with his win last week at New Hampshire. And Turner 5th in the points, our Atlanta race winner. Jessica Shelton, though, got a piece of that as well, as we stated. And also Matt McIntyre with a pretty extensive hit in the 7. So the wrecks just keep on coming. Cautions breeding cautions here at Lakewood. Let's go back for yet another restart. And with these cautions, too, we're getting closer and closer to 10 laps to go. We will be at 11 to go when we hit the line this time. So if a caution comes out at any point after this, then those cars on the inside line, Julius Anderson, Adam Garcia, and Dylan Young, they'll actually line up intermingled with the field in a single file restart rather than it being double wide. And the entire top 10 did not change at all because we only, I think, ran just one lap before we had the caution come out. So the top 10 looks the same. Garage area, though, has more drivers back in it, including Matt McIntyre, Austin LaPlante, Seth Cole, and Jesse Turner. They join Matt Haas and Diego Yepez. Just an update on those drivers trying to stay in the top 30 in the point standings. Wyatt Quail is 25th for this restart. James Shelly currently in 19th. T Wright, green flag back in the air. And that time Julius Andersson got just as good a restart, and he's going to battle to try and get back on the tail end of the lead lap. Now he's hoping and praying for a quick caution. Oh, now the leader, got into the right rear of the 4, and they're beating and banging on each other. That is not smart. They're still side by side. T Wright's got to make up his mind. Does he let the 4 go and concentrate on the 38, or does he continue to try to battle to pin that 4 car one lap down? Still side by side going to the line. And Andersson, I don't think he cares about the fact that T Wright's going for a victory. He wants to get back on the lead lap in case they're able to catch a late caution. More contact possibly right there. And what's making me nervous is T Wright is getting close to the right rear quarter panel of the 4, and 2 of our last 3 cautions have been due to something like that, and Andersson clears him. Andersson clears him. He's now back on the lead lap. He's now hoping for a caution, which would then cycle him back around to the tail end of the field. Now T Wright's got to look back in his rearview mirror because here comes Jordan Lopez. Maybe not. J Millz going to challenge for second place on Lopez. That's going to take a little bit of pressure off the 28, at least for right now. J Millz might be going for the slide job here. Ooh, he almost got up into the door of his teammate. That was close. They continue to battle side by side. Remember last week, or not last week, the week before, J Millz actually ran down and passed, who was it? It was Benny Watson on a green flag run in the closing stages of that race to win. And now we're seeing here in the closing stages of this race that 98 seems to be coming alive speed-wise, but he was not able to make the pass on Jordan Lopez. Now he's going to try again. And every time, every lap that these two battle with each other is one more lap that T Wright's able to just hit his marks and drive away, begin to gap. He's got half a second right now back to Jordan Lopez. Got a battle here going on for the 5th position. A couple of drivers up there in the point stands but don't have a win. Levi McIntyre 3rd in points, Matthew Rodriguez 6th in points. This is a battle to get up inside of the top 10. Carter Friesen just cracked the top 10 as he got around both the Bulldog Motorsports Dodges of Zach Rogers and Ryan Brommer. Now he's all over the back bumper of our last dirt track winner, Chris Dollerton. Chris Dollerton is up in the 15th position in points, by the way. This is a guy that about 8 weeks ago was outside the top 30 in the points. And it looks like he might be able to get himself up in the top 10 in points if he manages to finish where he's in, currently in that 8th position. Carter Friesen right now is 11th in the points coming into this race. Dropped 2 spots in the standings after New Hampshire last week, but still our Daytona 500 winner looking super strong week after week. What a race this would be, though. This would check the boxes in so many different things for Blue Oval Automotive. It would be T Wright's first win of the season. It would have all 3 of the Blue Oval Automotive cars finishing in the top 3 on the podium. It would be all 3 of the Blue Oval Automotive drivers winning this season, and it would be their 5th win overall as a team, as someone got up into the fence. I think it was Lopez, and now J Millz is going to challenge for second again. And T Wright would be a driver that comes into this race dead last in the point standings that would be going to victory lane. And if I'm not mistaken, it would be 2 out of our 3 dirt track races so far this season where a driver outside of the top 30 in the point standings goes to victory lane. Because I'm pretty certain Dollerton, when he won at Springfield, I'm sorry, not at Springfield, at Fuel Motorsports Park, he was outside the top 30 in the points at the time. This next time by, the flagman, he's not going to be showing T Wright the peace sign. He's going to be showing him that there are 2 laps remaining, and boy, did Jordan Lopez get a good run there through 3 and 4. He's closing the gap back up. Does he have anything to challenge the 28 with 2 laps remaining? What was about a half-second gap closed down to about 0.3. And Lopez trying to find something to close up even more as he ran really low through 1 and 2, but looked like he lost a little bit of ground on exit. Off turn 4, T Wright's going to see the white flag. 1 more lap to go. Does Lopez have anything? Or will J Millz distract him in a battle for second? Oh wow, the 38 got really tight going into turn 1. He lost a lot of momentum, and I think T Wright's got this if he can just make it through 3 and 4 safely. He has hit his marks all day. Started on the pole, had that first pit stall, was able to win the battle off pit road when they made pit stops, and has not looked back since then. Off turn 4 for the final time. Dead last in the point standings, but he'll get his first win of the season. T Wright's going to take the checkered flag here today at the debuting track of Lakewood. And now the goal for the next 6 weeks is to get as good finishes as possible to get up there, possibly into the top 30 in points. It's going to be quite a task for T Wright, though. As coming into this race, if my calculations, looking at this correctly, he is 90... No, I'm sorry. Nope, hold on. He is 89 points behind 30th in the standings coming into this race. It is mathematically possible to make up 89 points in 6 weeks. But we're just going to have to sit back and watch and see if indeed T Wright can make himself a last-minute entry into this season's playoffs. He's got the first thing out of the way, and that is going to victory lane. He's got that monkey off his back anyway, but now we got to see if he can be consistent enough. Will this be the shot in the arm this team needs to now start to get consistent victories? This is only his second top 10 of the season and only his second top 5 of the season as well. But he's got a 1 in the win column and a 1, 2, 3 finish for Blue Oval Automotive. It is their 5th win as a team, and it's the first of T Wright's Duracell Cup Series career. V Almariego, the highest finishing Chevrolet, he will get 4th. 5th place is going to be Levi McIntyre. Matthew Rodriguez in 6th. Highest finishing Toyota was Cole Baker in 7th. Dollerton brings it home in 8th. Carter Friesen 9th. And Zach Rogers going to complete your top 10. As a matter of fact, it was a 23-point gap between Zach Rogers and the points leader William Brock coming into this race. We didn't really talk about the 88 hardly at all. He finished back in 23rd, so that is 13 points that Rogers makes up. So it's going to be about 15 points that will be the gap between himself and Rogers. And let's see, McIntyre finished in 5th. That is 18 spots that he made up. So he will be, I think, 8 points behind William Brock going into next week. So it will be Brock 8 points over McIntyre and 15 over Rogers. That's going to be a wild battle as we're going to be heading next week to Texas Spring. That's going to be a really fun track too. That's going to be a fast racetrack. It's a very wide racetrack. And I believe we are running the 2019 rules package there as well. So that is going to be a lot of fun. No, actually, no, we're not running the 2019's rules package there. Wow, that's surprising. I would have thought at a D-shaped mile and a half we would be, but no, we are not. Take a look down at the rest of the finishing results and the 2 drivers that we highlighted coming into this race to see if they would stay in the top 30 in points. J Shelly brought it home 21st, Wyatt Quail in 24th. Now, the only saving grace that they really had was the fact that Benjamin Miles struggled a little bit here today, as did a couple of drivers ahead of them in points like Seth Cole and Trent Dunham. However, drivers like V Almariego and Cole Baker actually had good finishes, so we'll have to wait and see if heading into Texas, if Shelly and Quail are still in the top 30, and if we still have 16 different race winners filling up our 16 playoff positions. We ended up having 3 cautions during the course of this race. Out of the race after those 3 wrecks were Matt McIntyre, Austin Plant, Seth Cole, Jesse Turner, Matt Haas, and Diego Yepez. But pretty good race here today. Not a whole lot of passing. It seemed to be very difficult for drivers to pass each other. They were able to get side by side, but really not a whole lot came of it. So That's unfortunate. We might have had a better race at DuQuoin, I don't know, but unfortunately, because the INI only holds 37 cars, we didn't get the chance to find out. But hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Lakewood. If you did, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you full 50 results, and these are your point standings heading next week as we go to Texas. After that, we go to Martinsville. That's going to be wild. Road course racing at Watkins Glen, then the tricky triangle of Pocono. Richmond and Auto Club are the final races of the regular season that these drivers will have to tackle before we determine who's going to be in this season's Duracell Cup Series chase for the championship. Until then, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.